Alright, guys. I'm finally here. Sorry about this, guys. Again, it's just been a rough start to this week at work as I was expecting based off how my day went on Friday. So, again, it's getting to the holiday rush. Still short-staffed at work right now. So, obviously, I'm going to have my nights where I'm going to go home tired and exhausted. Or a night like last night where I could have done Hell in a Cell, but I actually was slightly intrigued by what was happening on Raw, since it was the Raw after a pay-per-view, and we had two title changes, and of course some new feuds to start. Yet, I was disappointed by Raw last night. But we'll talk about Raw later on this Super Tuesday edition of on the Club with the Man 1993's channel, as we will review Hell in a Cell now. After this, I did record my turn alert from the turn that happened on this show. Unfortunately, no more stakes and weights. And then I'll briefly do a Raw review. And I say briefly because Raw sucked last night. I really thought Raw sucked last night, but we'll talk about that when we get to Raw. This is Hell in a Cell. What is going on, guys? This is the Club with the Man 1993. And I am here live for my live review of WWE Hell in a Cell. I'm sorry. Hell in a Cell 2020 live review. It took place this past Sunday, October 25th, 2020, at the WWE ThunderDome in Orlando, Florida, at the Amway Center. What are the overall thoughts on this show? I feel like I got exactly what I was expecting from this show. The Hell in a Cell matches, to capitalize, well, 2 to 3 were good. One of them was decent. I wasn't saying I was the biggest fan of it. It was still passable and decent for what it was. Of course, the match that main evented, we'll get to the main event. I still didn't think that match should have been the main event of the show. Just my opinion. Any other 2 Hell in a Cell matches I thought could have main evented the show. One of the women to main event the show, to be honest, because it was a lot long waited for this to get a one-on-one pay-per-view match that I will say did not disappoint whatsoever. Everything else outside the Hell in a Cell matches, very forgettable. As I figured it would be. Very forgettable. Bathroom breaks and whatnot. So I would say it's a back-and-forth show. I gave it a solid grade because the Hell in a Cell matches, especially that opening match. And of course the women were awesome as well. Again, the Hell in a Cell matches did their jobs. The rest of the card, it was a weird card to judge. We did get one more match added to the show, well, besides the pre-show match. But guess what? I didn't care about it. Did you? I'm sure Vince loved it because of slapjack. Retribution. They're a joke. They're a big fat joke. But without further ado, let's actually talk about the show. So before we get into it though, let's check the live chat first. And also, I will say this. At least we had no screwy finishes this year. No 3 years in a row of screwy finishes. Thank God. So that was a plus. And even though, it was only 6 matches in the end, again, we had 3 Hell in a Cell matches that, were given the time they needed. And then the other stuff, was whatever. So at least it wasn't like a filler show with just a bunch of filler thrown inside of it. I mean, one of the matches, it wasn't Hell in a Cell, at least kind of had a story to it that, well, still didn't make sense, but kind of had, something on the line, the Money in the Bank contract match. Rest of the show, again, just, but, well, I don't say, well, the other matches is, but, yeah, again, there were some positives still got on the show. So, again, back and forth show, but still not bad. Live chat. J.R. Campbell. Randy Orton's a coward. He said he ain't scared of the Fiend, but he lied. It's Drew McIntyre working with the Fiend, because so it's going to turn into a triple threat TLC. The Fiend versus Inverse True for the... Not sure what you meant by there. But thank you for joining me live, my friend. So without further ado, we'll talk about the show. The pre-show match was R-Truth versus Drew Gulak for the 24/7 title. And I did not watch it. And I did not care. I think R-Truth retained. I believe so. He was on Raw with the 24/7 title last night. Unless I missed something else. I don't know. But, yeah, Drew retained. I'm sorry, not Drew retained. R-Truth retained. Get to the main card. We opened up with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso for the WWE Universal Championship Hell in a Cell I Quit match. Was this a beauty or what? Was this a storytelling, emotional roller coaster ride masterpiece? Going into this feud, again, the obvious reason behind this feud with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso was to get something more personal for Roman Reigns to help, blossom his heel character. I think this feud went even further than that to make Roman an even better heel. Especially in a feud with someone like Jey Uso, who, of course, is just part of a tag team. Did you really think that Jey Uso is going to win the Universal title? No. But just the storytelling, the emotion, and everything that was put into this feud was even more higher up than I thought. Could this maybe have gone without being inside the cell? Maybe. There was, some usage of the cell in this match, not as much as I wanted to. Truth being told, though, again, this had to, feel that pressure for Jey Uso. The fact that, again, here's where, bending the Hell in a Cell rules came into place. Because you have the fact that, Roman Reigns continues just to beat down Jey Uso. Just how he normally do. How he normally wrestles somebody. One of my favorite spots in the match was definitely, I think it was the second spear he hit that. He was like he got a little more height and a little more energy put into it. The spear Jey Uso from instead of down here, he got him a little more up here around the neck and chest level. And I was just like, dang, he was like him with he's on a freaking freight train. But of course, Jey Uso was just refusing to quit, even when Roman put him in the guillotine. So as the match, drew closer, Roman was continuing to say, basically, he's like, you're making me do this. You're making me do this. Don't make me do what I gotta do. Just quit. Just say you quit. Please, don't make me do this, Oos. Don't make me do this. But then, of course, even Heyman couldn't even, get Roman under control. Again, Heyman's his special counsel. Again, Roman Reigns feeling more superior over Paul Heyman when Paul Heyman is feeling effective is something special. But then, of course, Roman starts to, assault Jey more. Beat the piss out of him. And he goes as far as hitting a drive-by on Jey Uso with the steel steps and Jey's head against the ring post. Sick. Knocked Jey out cold. And then the referee, he wanted to stop the match. He wanted to do some match stoppage. Vince McMahon's, favorite cover-up for last year's fuck-up inside Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins and The Fiend. Remember, match stoppage. No. Roman's like, we ain't doing no match stoppage, bitch. And he tosses the referee out of the ring. Saying, nobody's stopping this match under my watch. And I'm like, heck yeah, Roman. You're damn right this match ain't stopping because of match stoppage. It was not going to stop until Roman satisfyingly had Jey Uso bow down and acknowledge him. Basically, just tell him he's the winner and not have his brother throw in the towel for him. Of course, this time the finish was, the opposite brother throwing the towel for the other, pretty much. Well, not literally throwing the towel, but, stopping the match for the other person's sake. But anyways, so Roman continued to beat down on Jey. And then once Roman pushed the referee out of the ring, then, they open up the cell. Chaos encounters. officials come in. Adam Pearce came in, and Pat Buck, whoever the hell he. Well, I'm sorry, Pat Buck. It's Pat Buck. He again, just know he was on a couple of episodes of Conversations with the Big Guy with Ryback. Pat Buck, a couple of people came out as well, and they were trying to talk some sense in the room, like cut it out, like stop this. And he's like, you ain't stopping me, and he takes the steel steps, stands right above Jey. He's holding them over his head. Look, he's gonna just take them and come down and smash Jey right in the sternum. It looked like he's about to do. When Jey Uso comes running out, gets into the ring, and then he starts trying to talk some sense in the room. It's like, Oos, what's this come to? Why are you doing this, Oos? What's up, big Oos? Like, what is this, Oos? And trying to talk some sense in the Roman. Roman Reigns drops the steel steps, sits down, and watches as Jimmy, just comes to his brother's aid. And, he starts saying something, this is Josh right here. This is John talking to you, whatnot. Basically, using their real names and whatnot. And again, I continue to say this. I really feel when you can hear what they're actually saying in the ring, that really, invests me more in the match. That keeps my attention more because, they're not just, hitting each other for no reason. They're telling a story, and you can actually hear, you follow along with the story if you hear what the hell they're saying. So, and this starts getting Roman emotional. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief himself, starts crying in the cell. He's just like, I don't know what's gotten into me, I can't believe I'm doing this. Again, it's showing that, obviously he's fighting these demons. It's breaking his heart that he has to do what he has to do to his own flesh and blood, his own cousin, a freaking brother to him. Again, he's said on multiple podcasts or Cry Out Loud, the Usos are pretty much his best friends. They grew up together. They did everything together. They were pretty much brothers. And Roman, yet, in a time where, he's going through, he's in this heel character developing, he's trying to, do his best he can to secure his spot at the top. Other routes that he normally has had to go, just wanting to get back at WWE for just cutting him off completely while he was away, not even acknowledging who he is, and now we're going to make him remember the name Roman Reigns, is in the ring, emotional by what he is doing to his own brothers. And then, as as Jimmy's like, we're going to work this out, Oos. We're going to work this out. Puts out his hand. They shake it. They touch foreheads. Into the guillotine. Roman puts Jimmy into the guillotine. As Jey slowly starts to, come to it. He gets up. And he just grabs onto Jimmy's hand, and he just says it, I quit. I quit. He quits for his own brother, dedicating the love to his brother, and just to end this once and for all. And now, Jey Uso has to accept being Roman Reigns' bitch. Unless he doesn't, then he's out of the family. Afterwards, Roman exits the cell, and then a couple of the Samoan family heritage members, I can't remember what names were, Roman's father, and I can't remember who it was, come out, and they put the red tribal lei around his neck, make him officially the tribal chief of WWE, Roman Reigns. Again, this match. This match is just, it needed what it needed to be. It was going to be an all-out brawl. It was going to be an emotional, storytelling classic. And that's exactly what this Hell in a Cell I Quit match was. It made Roman Reigns look like a freaking monster. Just to see what the heck he has done to his own family. Even when his emotions got to him, he still snapped and stuck with the gut he is thinking of protecting himself at the head of the table as the tribal chief. And now, as I keep saying, with Jey Uso obviously, well, Jimmy's still not back yet. With Jey Uso pretty much accepting to be Roman's, doing whatever Roman says for him now. Again, I think this is going to start leading to that slow Uso heel turn. When Jimmy gets back, I think we're going to see full-on heel Usos once again. And, like I said, maybe in around Rumble season or something like that, when the turns are solidified, maybe we can have the Usos versus the Street Profits. Again, despite the fact we have a very flat tag team division on the main roster, I think that would be a really fun feud. Street Profits, heel Usos. It's not paranoia. It's the Usos. I loved it. Again, this feud, I feel like I got what I wanted out of it, but I feel like I got even more out of it. And I will still continue to sit here till this day and say, Vince, what the heck took you so long to pull this trigger on Roman Reigns? Just when he has been up on the main roster for 6 years. 6 years. And most of them was you trying to make him exactly what you wanted him to be, and it did not work. Yet, when he's 35 years old, could be on his last run, one of his last runs, who knows. Again, I remember about a year or so ago, I heard rumors saying when his contract expires in 2021, he may just go to Hollywood or whatnot. I've heard rumors about that. Not sure if it's still going to happen or not. Even so, after this run, whether he stays or not, Roman's done it all. And he's doing his best work right now, of course, with this championship reign. Has he had good matches as a babyface? Of course he has. But as far as, character work and such, this is definitely his best. I love this Roman Reigns. I love it. I think he's awesome. He knows how to make things real. He can talk trash. He can talk shit. He has the look of it. Still waiting for a new theme music, though. But I love this transition. I've loved every second of what Roman Reigns has done since coming back at SummerSlam. And it's already been 2 months, and man, it feels like it's already been a long time because of how long and how sucky this year has been, but this is just awesome. So that was the opening match of the show. The Hell in a Cell I Quit match for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, a storytelling classic. That's exactly what it is. So, let's move on now to a match I didn't care about. Jeff Hardy versus Elias. Match was what it was for me until the finish. The finish was Elias grabbing his guitar, and as soon as he grabbed them, here comes a DQ. Here comes a DQ. And sure enough, Jeff Hardy ripped the guitar out of Elias' hand and hits it with the guitar, causing a DQ. And that accomplished what? Accomplished the fact that, once again, Elias, we all know it wasn't Jeff Hardy who hit Elias, it was Sheamus. But again, that feud's already been overdone, so it's get to the point, Elias, wake up. I won't deny and say at first, okay, it makes sense for him to go after Jeff Hardy. But now it's just okay, you know what, screw this. Because, he's now Jeff Hardy and Elias, even though Raw, are just going back and forth, smashing each other with guitars. You care? Nope. Like I said, the other matches on this show didn't really do much for me. So that's this match. Elias won by disqualification with him with the guitar. Again. And I think I continue to say, I still hate the fact that the guitar is a freaking weapon. In NXT, the only time the guitar was ever destroyed, was when Cassius Ohno destroyed it whenever Elias lost his Loser Leaves NXT match. That was the only time, that was the only time that Elias ever had the guitar used as a weapon. Because he was attached to it. So, what? He's going to keep buying guitars? Again, it makes no continuity. It makes no sense. It doesn't. Sorry. It doesn't. So, just saying, you know who you are for saying tisk tisk at me. Anyways, so yeah, so I didn't care about this match. Sorry, I didn't. And the feud's still continuing too, and I still don't care. Because all it is Jeff Hardy and Elias hitting each other with guitars. What's next? A guitar in a pole match or a ladder match? The goal of the match is to grab the guitar? No, I don't care. Again, just get to the point the fact that it was Sheamus who attacked Elias. And another thing too, again, the thing about Elias being a heel is that, he's doing these concerts to please the fans, as he said. The fans needed a concert, he said, a few weeks, yet he's still crapping on them. I mean, Elias is a heel, fine. Still thought he was starting to get his niche the last time, though. Before he got hit by a car. By Sheamus. Speaking of Sheamus, we'll talk about him in my Raw review. But yeah, that's that match. And then we get to this match. Otis versus The Miz for the Money in the Bank contract. Match was okay. But of course, a turn of events happened. And as soon as they kicked out John Morrison, again, idiotic John Morrison, because like I said, I'm continuing to ask, even from last night's edition also, every time I see John Morrison, I just continue to ask, why did you come back? Why? You got squashed by Otis in 3 minutes. You got squashed by Brock Lesnar in the Rumble. Again, they ruined your return. So this match happens, and then of course John Morrison tries to get involved. Tucker's outside, obviously staying in Otis' corner. By the way, Otis got new theme music. Not too bad, I will say. So, John Morrison gets ejected. And as soon as that happened, I'm like, don't tell me. Don't tell me. And it happened. Tucker turned on Otis, smashed him in the face with the Money in the Bank briefcase, and just knocked him out cold. And Miz wins the Money in the Bank contract. Again, as I'm saying, if this was 2016 to 2018 Miz, even babyface Miz in 2019, I'd be okay with this. But the fact they booked him like a joke, and the fact that his options currently, Roman Reigns, Miz is not cashing on Roman Reigns. Miz and Randy Orton, two heels going at, again, I've said before, there are some heels that I think a heel-on-heel feud would work. With how Miz is booked right now, and either way, just their characters and whatnot, I don't think a heel Orton and a heel Miz would mesh. I really don't. I mean, if he cashed in on Drew McIntyre, at least it would have been fresh. But it's different now. But yeah, Miz is Mr. Money in the Bank after booking him like a joke all year long. When we actually did want to see Miz be world champion, you didn't want to put a title on him. You fed into Shane McMahon. But the moment that you want to make him world champion, or at least Mr. Money in the Bank, then you put him on him when we don't want to see him as champ. I can't win here. But yeah, so Tucker turned on Otis, which I thought was super random, because I think I don't know, just storytelling wise, it still felt that, Tucker was super supportive of Otis. To me, they never teased any inklings of Otis and Tucker split up. This just felt really forced. Really forced. Yet, yes, Tucker's over on Raw. Mandy Rose is over on Raw. But to me, it just didn't feel like... Again, the other thing is, too, if Tucker, for crying out loud, was jealous of Otis, then why did he have him come battle to be his tag team partner in a mask? And then backstage, Miz and Morrison are celebrating. Tucker walks past, and then they're like, "Oh, thank you, Tucker." He's like, "I wasn't trying to please you." Basically mentions how he's jealous of Otis, saying Otis wasn't able to do anything without him. Otis comes out of nowhere and starts beating. He's like, just takes out Miz and Morrison. And then him and Tucker start brawling and going to like a cafe or a bar or anything like that. But yeah, I'm just like, I just felt like this was a little forced. I didn't okay, it's supposed to be out of nowhere. I just didn't think it worked. I didn't think it flowed good. I mean, again, what's Tucker going to do on Raw by himself? This is probably going to lead to maybe part of like a pre-show match at Survivor Series between Otis and Tucker. But like again, it's not going to be much. And now poor Otis, because look what's happened to him. Beginning of the year, he won the girl of his dreams, Mandy Rose. Though we all wish we had Mandy Rose, of course. He won Mandy Rose. Then he got the Money in the Bank contract. And then just like that, because of Miz, Mandy and Tucker go to Raw, and he loses the Money in the Bank contract. Poor Otis. Poor Otis. Like, it's just... I don't know what he's going to do now. I mean, again, him and Tucker are on different brands, so besides, of course, Survivor Series, how else are they going to feud further on? And then, again, like, somehow Otis should have ended up on Raw. Somehow, in this feud, Otis should have ended up on Raw. They're going to move both. Because, again, it's just him getting his comeuppance on The Miz for all this stuff. But, again, like I said, this Miz is a joke. But yeah. Again, I thought this was a feud that actually could have been something if it was a better booked Miz. And if it made a little more sense. But it just flubbed to me. I mean, the match itself I thought was okay. But the whole story just really flubbed. Miz really had no argument at all in court. Like those Law and Otis segments on Friday were so dumb. I'm sorry, they were so dumb. They made no sense to me. And now Otis is basically back to square one again. Poor guy, Otis. Still have your Caterpillar, buddy. And Heavy Machinery is definitely no more because Tucker's a heel now on Raw. Probably going to be just the main event on the show, main event. And that's how it's going to be. Unless they try to make him somebody else's heater. Give somebody else a tall friend like AJ Styles and whatever the heck big 7'3" tough guy looking is who just clutches his fists and intimidate people. Again, give me a break. Duh. So that was that match. So let's check the live chat before we continue on as we're halfway through. Anyways, he says I'm in or inverse The Fiend versus Drew for the title. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre versus The Fiend. Don't forget John Cena sucks. He does not like Cena. He thinks he's overrated. Hates him. So don't ask me anything. Survivor Series team is looking good. Men's Survivor Series team is looking good. Alpha and Zika is Roman's father. Alpha and Zika is Roman's father and Uncle Alpha. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Because they had the red was you wearing your red leg when he was wrestling. What? Rockets had the table. I mean, that could be a storyline if you do a match at WrestleMania. Undertaker's return. Did you see the Bray Wyatt's that he was wearing? It was the same day that I didn't notice that. Orton's having a match at Survivor Series against the Tribal Chief. Is it going to be? It is both titles. Again, it's just bragging rights. Raw champion versus SmackDown champion. We'll talk about Survivor Series, of course, in my Raw review later on. But thank you for your stuff in the live chat. Red thing that you said that you got from your cousin's wedding or your sister's whatever. The lei, the Hawaiian lei. It was from my future brother-in-law's winging because we flying jets. They had like a Hawaiian themed party and they had leis, and my dad went down to see it. But it's in my parents' room. I don't want to go get it right now. So yeah. Moving on now to a match I actually really cared about. Also, I thought was really good. A match also I thought should have main evented the show. Well, this one or Roman and Jey. Bayley and Sasha Banks. SmackDown Women's Championship inside Hell in a Cell. I'm very cautious with that. I got hiccups doing that one time. Anyways, so Bayley and Sasha Banks, Hell in a Cell, one-on-one on pay-per-view. Finally! After how many years this was being built to? 2018, they had how many matches with the freaking Riot Squad? They teased a breakup. People that were teasing a lesbian storyline between them that I just didn't think worked for these two. Again, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose could have worked. Sasha and Bayley, no, could not have worked. Tried to pull a Team Hell No on them with the whole counseling stuff, didn't work. Supposed to win the tag titles at SummerSlam 2018. Vince hated designs, threw them in the trash, waited till Elimination Chamber. Bayley and Sasha Banks left WWE for 4 months, came back, and then this all started. And yes, it had its high points, its low points, whatever. But, think about it in some ways, it was actually not too bad in the end. So we finally get here, one-on-one inside Hell in a Cell. Sasha Banks, who's calling herself the boss of the cell, even though going to this match, she's been in both women's Hell in a Cell matches, and she never won inside Hell in a Cell. She lost to Charlotte in 2016. Last year, she lost to Becky Lynch. This year, though, different results. Before the match started, Bayley brought out her personal chair. Has a big X on it and 1-0 on it, because she's going to be 1-0 inside Hell in a Cell. Sasha Banks drop kicks the chair, and as the cell is lowering, and it slides underneath the cell and goes out of the cell. So Bayley was toast at the beginning, and I thought these two beat the holy hell out of each other. They utilized the cell pretty good. They were staying in charge of the cells, use of kendo sticks. I think a table got involved somewhere as well. A ladder. There was one spot I thought was a little hokey. Whenever Bayley was trying to, she took duct tape and she was trying to tape kendo sticks together or something. I thought it looked a little bit weird and not super duper effective. It looked a little botched, to be honest. I'll be real. What I think the turning point of the match is when Bayley set up the chairs, put the ladder on top of the chairs, and laid Sasha on top of the ladder. Bayley took some spray painted a big X on Sasha's chest for X marks the spot. Goes to do the Macho Man's elbow, whatever you want to call it, and Sasha rolls off and gets out of the way. That I thought was the turning point in the match. Sasha even hit a Bayley the belly onto the chair, onto a steel chair. Wasn't enough to put Bayley away. There was even a time where I think Sasha jumped and did like a meteor or whatever it was, into the turnbuckle, but she had good height on it and jumped from the top of the ring post into the corner of the cell. I can't remember where it was, but there was a couple ones that she really got a lot of height on to slam into Bayley, which I thought was a pretty sick move there. And then I love the finish. Sasha Banks won by putting Bayley's head through the chair and started smashing it. She put Bayley's head through the chair, just like Bayley did when she landed on the chair when she first tried to end Sasha's career tonight. She turned on Sasha, and she put Sasha put Bayley in a bank statement while in the chair. And while that was happening, Sasha taking her feet, kicking on the chair, pushing it down, just smashing the head and the neck into the chair, forcing Bayley to tap out. And Sasha Banks is now a 6-time, wait, is that correct? Yeah, a 6-time women's champion. First time she's won the SmackDown Women's Championship in her career. And, again, that finish, boss-like. For the boss, Sasha Banks. And Sasha Banks, again, has finally reigned and ended the 381-day title reign, somewhere around there, reign of Bayley. As, of course, it could have been, over 500 days, and then again, didn't give Charlotte that week as champion last year. But, yeah, Bayley's reign is over. Sasha Banks is champion. Of course, the question is, will Sasha still be the champion going into Hell in a Cell? Into Survivor Series. We all know Sasha Banks has never been in her main roster career, has never been able to defend a singles title and retain. Which, again, I think a lot of us still think that's going to play into the story. Because, again, you remember, whenever Sasha lost the Raw Women's Championship, Bayley even had the balls to say on SmackDown, "I'm sorry, Sasha, I should have known that you don't do good. You're not good with defending championships once you win them." Ooh, that was slick there. So be ready for whenever the rematch happens, whether it's on SmackDown or if it's at a pay-per-view. It's not going to be at Survivor Series. It has to be brand versus brand, champion versus champion, with no stakes. No stakes in weights, no stakes in shrooms, none at all. But you betcha, Bayley's winning that championship back the next time her and Sasha go one-on-one. And at TLC, they'll probably do a TLC match where maybe Sasha went back again. Again, somehow this feud's going to get to WrestleMania. Maybe at Royal Rumble we'll have like a triple threat match with Bianca Belair involved. Again, the moment this feud is over, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, take my money. That's going to be an awesome feud for sure. It'll be good to see Bianca finally competing for the women's title as well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that match. Again, probably the second best match of the night. A really good women's match for sure. I'm not sure if I would say... I'm still between last year's Women's Hell in a Cell and this year's Women's Hell in a Cell is my favorite one. They were both pretty good. They were both really good. I can't decide which one I like better, to be honest. The first one was fine, but that table botch kind of took me out of it. But, just saying. But, yeah. Awesome match, for sure. Alright, and then we have our random added filler match. Bobby Lashley versus, and I couldn't find an actual image of him with the mask on now, Shane Thorne, now known as Slapjack. I'm sure Vince is just loving that name, praising it, going, mwah, Slapjack. Yeah, again, versus Slapjack. What a joke of a match. Complete squash. Bobby Lashley won. Do we have to talk about this more? Nah, I don't think so. Moving on now to the main event. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship. This was definitely, of course, of the 3 Hell in a Cell matches on the show, the one I was least excited about. And I'm not saying this feud's been bad. It's not been a horrible feud. Problem is, it just ran its course. This is the 3rd singles match we've had between these two, one-on-one, on pay-per-view. The last 3 pay-per-views, these guys have fought. And when Drew McIntyre wins both the first 2 matches, and you don't see any reason to do a 3rd one, or in the fact that Randy Orton attacked a bunch of legends, it kind of takes away from there, because every week, and even last night, it was just, Randy's gonna get interviewed. I may show up there every single week, as we saw. Even last night, Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre brawled yet again. It's not been a bad feud. The matches have been pretty good. It's ran its course. But because there was a title change in this match, I think that's why this match went on last. So before the match started, before Drew McIntyre can get inside, Randy Orton sneaks up on him with pants and a black hoodie on and tries to beat him down. They brawl a little bit outside, and then Orton even beats up McIntyre on top of a table, and then they get inside the cell, door shuts, match begins. Even though Randy Orton was still wearing his long pants, and he finally took his pants off. I don't even know when he took his pants off to fight, to get in his wrestling gear and whatnot. I'll say I thought this match was going pretty good, but then the moment this went outside the cell, I kind of started to fade interest. I'm not sure, because Orton takes a bolt cutter and goes outside the cell. And then, watch this, they literally had footholes on the cell for them to climb it, which is odd to have to begin with. Orton climbs the cell, basically trying to goat McIntyre in to come up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what the hell are they going to do here? What's going on? Are they going to? Is Orton going to throw McIntyre off the top of the cell, or vice versa? Is what's going to happen with it? Or is a Mankind and Undertaker thing going to happen, or one of them fall through the cell or something? I'm like, something dangerous is happening here. Instead, it was kind of a little bit of a wet fart, to be honest. Orton goes up to the top of the cell first. McIntyre then comes up. They throw a couple punches, and then Orton tries to start climbing down the cell. McIntyre follows. They stay hanging on the side of the cell. Just a couple slap, slap, slap. McIntyre went to slap, but Orton blocked or something, I can't remember. So he was hanging from one arm. Orton just punched his hand off the cell. McIntyre fell from halfway up the cell, and he fell through a table. and that's where you start getting some internal bleeding, which looked scary. But I was just like that it? Like, you really had it like that anticlimactic that they just like a short little fall like that. It was a disappointing spot. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the whole idea. I think what they were trying to go with was the fact that they're trying to emphasize Orton's experience inside Hell in a Cell compared to McIntyre's. Again, this was Orton's 8th Hell in a Cell match, and this is only McIntyre's first. So, trying to do that to emphasize the experience part, I get it, but I just didn't think it was that great. So basically, they just spent like 10 minutes of Orton stalking McIntyre as he is crawling back, to get back inside the cell, because the match had to finish inside Hell in a Cell. It wasn't like in 2017 when Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon's Hell in a Cell match was Falls Count Anywhere. They get back inside. McIntyre did hit a Claymore on Orton, but of course, obviously, he's already rocked up from that fall from the top. And Orton rolls out of the ring. He goes for a second Claymore. Orton ducks. McIntyre just flies over top of him and falls flat on his ass. Gets up, and Orton hits an RKO. 1, 2, 3. McIntyre is no longer champion, and Orton's now champion. Again, the match was decent, and I'm not upset Orton won. The problem I have is there's two problems I have with this. One, again, this feud went on, and McIntyre won the first 2 matches. So, when you've wore down a feud, yet you gave Orton the title, and, it's like, why we want to see McIntyre not get a rematch with, the story he's had to come back to even get this opportunity. It took him 19 years, him getting fired 5 or 6 years ago, to, again, if you saw the 24 special on WWE Network, how he reinvented himself, had to start from scratch, and then lose the championship. And then the fact that, it's in a feud that it's super worn down, that you don't want to see another one-on-one match between you, so you want to see something different. It's like, well, I don't want to see McIntyre just lose the title and just be like, oh well, and just go away from it. No! But do you want it? I want to see something fresh. The other problem I have with Orton winning the title here, again, the rumors of him and Edge, when Edge comes back for the title, again, love them both, love Edge. He does not need to be fighting for the title. Again, this is not about him trying to come back and win his glory back. No, this is him coming back and finishing his career, satisfying his own self. I'm sorry. I mean, the title involved in this feud? No, it does not need to be involved. If it's not Edge who drops title, then we're fine. Again, I'm okay with Randy Orton being WWE champion. As a matter of fact, again, I even thought, with how great momentum he had, especially coming out of the greatest wrestling match of all time with him and Edge at Backlash, I thought, I think this, capitalizes momentum. He should be having the world title on him at some point. So I'm fine with that. It's just, whoever he drops it to, I want the benefit from it. He could drop back to McIntyre at some point. I mean, he's about to enter a feud with The Fiend. We'll talk about that for Raw. I'm fine with that. But him and Edge for the title, again, that feud, I mean, yes, it needs one more match. Until Edge got hurt, they were supposed to have the blow-off match at SummerSlam. I Quit match was supposed to be. Would have worked to me there. But, again, the title involved does not need to happen. I'm sorry. Edge and Orton's feud does not need the championship. That's the only reason why well, besides that and the fact that, you've had Drew McIntyre, be built as an amazing babyface, and then he beats Orton twice. Then the one moment he loses, we don't want to see him get another shot because, the feud's been overdone. It's like, that's not how it works. I mean, it's just not work. But again, I want something new for both these guys. So the Fiend getting involved, probably going to be a triple threat match at TLC, or maybe he'll do that Survivor Series. The winner will fight, Roman Reigns and the World Champion versus World Champion match. So I don't know. But, yeah, decent match. Definitely the weakest of the 3 Hell in a Cell matches. And again, Orton's now a 14-time champion. Ties Triple H for second all time. And of course, the most people ahead of him, tied at 16 apiece, is the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, whoa! And Mr. You Can't See Me, John Cena. So, yeah. That's my thoughts on the main event. And that, guys, is my Hell in a Cell 2020 review. Let me check the polls on Twitter, and then I'll check the live chat. On Twitter, we had 16 votes for what grade would you give Hell in a Cell. 18.8% said A, 37.5% said B, 25% said C, and 18.8% said D or lower. I gave this a B-. Again, Roman and Jey, storytelling classic. Sasha and Bayley, amazing Hell in a Cell match. McIntyre and Orton was decent. Again, it was good. Again, it lost me though whenever Orton stepped outside the cell. Miz and Otis was alright. Still didn't care much for it. And then we had, again, Lashley and Slapjack. Didn't care. Elias and Jeff Hardy. DQ. Did not care. So, yeah. B-. This show gets for me. Before we go off the air, let's check the shot of live and see what we got here. Sasha Banks looked good, and why I could occur in white. I was probably stupid as Mystic's main idea to take two kendo sticks together. The doorknob ain't what. Oh, ding dong, whatever Bayley says. Yeah, that annoys me. Sasha proved that she was a certified badass bitch. Yes. Bianca Belair is going to beat Sasha. What if Bianca Belair beat Sasha on SmackDown this Friday? I don't think Bianca's getting involved in the title picture quite yet. But again, as soon as this feud ends, boom, Sasha and Bianca go. What's up, Tyler? Gave it a 6 out of 10. Survivor Series should stop being brand warfare. We will talk about that when we do my brief Raw review, because I don't intend to talk much about Raw because Raw sucked. I give Hell in a Cell 7 out of 10. You're not giving it a D. Again, I'm giving it a B-. A B- for Hell in a Cell. Again, yeah, there were some matches that were forgettable, but there were some matches that were awesome. And especially Roman and Jey and Bayley and Sasha. Those were two awesome matches. And with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for this review. Take a quick break. I'm going to upload my turn alert on Tucker's heel turn. And we'll go from there. And then I'll do my Raw review in a little bit as well. But again, it's going to be brief. Again, there's nothing good about Raw last night. So what are your thoughts on Hell in a Cell, guys? Again, B-. What was your match of the night? What are your thoughts on Randy Orton being WWE Champion again? What are your thoughts on where next Drew McIntyre and Orton and Wyatt? What about Sasha and Bayley? Tucker turning heel? You leave it to me. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video. Subscribe or comment on my channel. And follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. Until then, guys, I'll see you soon for my Raw review. And, of course, I'm going to upload my Tucker turn alert as well. So have a good night. I'll see you guys shortly. Peace out, everybody.